California lawmakers giving initial approval today for a measure that prevents law enforcement from cooperating with federal immigration officials in act of defiance against President Trump's immigration crackdown. Joining us now to weigh in on the implications of the bill, Republican Congressman from California, Tom McClintock. You know, there is a tendency, Congressman, here in the East to kind of dismiss what happens in California until we realize that's more than 10% of the U.S. population, you know, and if more than 10% of the U.S. population is in defiance of federal rules and laws, that's kind of scary, is it not?
It is, but I also have to say I've got county sheriffs in my district who are mad as hell about this. Their responsibility is to keep their citizens safe, and they understand this makes California a very dangerous place, and they want nothing to do with this state law. By
the way, do you think that because of the state law, those criminal aliens who are in other parts of the United States might migrate towards California and take up residence there?
I don't think there's any question of that. And again, that's already happening, given the number of sanctuary cities we have. We had a rampage 3 years ago by an illegal immigrant who had been deported and thrice returned across our porous border, murdered two police officers, a sheriff's deputy from Sacramento and a police detective from Placer County. This makes our state a mecca for this sort of thing. Yeah. Again, don't assume that all Californians support this.
No,
I know. Many who are adamantly opposed.
Yeah, no, my son was a Marine out in Oceanside, California, so I know very well there's some pockets of the community that are very unhappy with all this. But the point is, California lawmakers say, and I'm quoting them here, they say that they will cooperate with the feds to get serious and violent felons as opposed to everybody else. The problem is that this gives license to a lot of local communities who might be too sympathetic to people who are on the verge of committing a violent crime, no?
Well, exactly right, and it doesn't eliminate all violent crimes from this edict. This is really, what we're seeing is the doctrine of nullification, a political doctrine we haven't seen in this country since the days of the Civil War, in which states that don't like federal law simply ignore it.
Congressman, you are also on the Budget Committee. I got to ask you, you saw the president roll out his infrastructure plan. It's a $1 trillion plan. That's a lot of money, but he says it's very different from what Obama did with his infrastructure plan in that there will be this public-private partnership. Are you clear about how that's going to work?
Well, if it means essentially revenue bonds that many states and municipal governments use to finance capital projects without sticking taxpayers with the bill, I think that's a very good thing. You go into the capital market, you say we're going to build this dam or this bridge, we're going to finance it by the fees that are paid by the water users, the power users, the tolls that are collected for the bridge users, and that's how we're going to pay you back. You set the interest rate to reflect the risk, and if it's a viable project, the money flows to it.
So if I could make an analogy, is it kind of like what Eisenhower did with the U.S. highways back in the 50s?
Well, yes. In fact, that's another very important reform. We've got to restore our highway taxes for our highways. That was the promise that was made with the Highway Trust Fund, and of course it's been broken. These funds have been used for purposes unrelated to our highways. Simply keeping that promise would do a great deal to eliminate the backlog and deferred maintenance and construction needs facing our interstate highway system.
Congressman Tom McClintock from the beautiful state of California. I hope we can keep it beautiful. Thank you very much, Congressman. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.